بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The subject, or according to the British, the model that we are taking is called Al-Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya, the Jurisprudential Maxims. And you know the qawa'id is plural and the singular is qa'ida, but this has nothing to do with politics or military or anything. This is rulings, and this is theology. Now this subject is important because this is a mother subject. If we understand this subject, then the process of derivation of the law is going to be easier for us to understand, because these are maxims, and maxims means they are fundamental principles or laws, general laws where you derive smaller or more particular laws from them. This is general. This is a general one. So what does general do here? General, you use it to derive smaller ones, more particular, more focused, more local ones. These are universal ones. And now what is the difference between, this is, as I said, al-qawa'id, the singular is al-qa'ida. Okay? Al-qa'ida al-fiqhiyya. The fiqhi law, the fiqhi maxim. Okay? We have al-mas'ala al-fiqhiyya. Al-mas'ala, the issue. This is the issue here. This is the maxim. What is the difference between an issue and a maxim? What is the difference between them?
An issue is a specific
exactly
situation.
And this one, maxim, is general. Exactly. This is, though it is a hadith also, then this could be hadith also, but this one, the maxim, is general, where you derive this one from it. You derive masail, many, not just one or two, many out of that one, the big one, the maxim. That is the difference. Dr. Ali, are you aware of this?
No.
The subject of the mas'ala, the subject that we discuss in al-mas'ala al-fiqhiyya, is specific one. The subject is specific in this one. While the subject of this one, the subject of the qa'ida, the maxim, is general, not specific. What do we mean by general? We mean by saying it's general that it could apply to many mas'ala, not just one. So this is bigger than this. This is specific, this is general. Okay? This is the difference between them. So the maxim is a comprehensive. General, you can say general, you can say comprehensive, you can say, some people call it universal. A universal principle, a universal law that is applicable to all of its particulars. The mas'ala is a particular one. This one is a universal, general. And we will give example to make it easy for us to understand. Now, can we give an example of this? Yes. An example, I will write it in Arabic and then I will translate it into English. An example. لا تعاد, this is عين, this is تا, لا تعاد الصلاة إلا من خمس. The prayers, meaning the prayers that we do, is not repeated unless of 5 things. You don't repeat the prayers unless it has 5 problems in it. If it has other problems, you don't repeat it. This is a maxim. This is a maxim. Now, let me ask you a question. If you come to the mosque one day, or not just the mosque, any place, where someone is standing as an imam, and he said, Allahu Akbar. Then you go there to pray Dhuhr or Asr or Maghrib or Isha, any of these prayers. Then you assume that he's doing Dhuhr. Okay? So you stand behind him and you say Allahu Akbar, thinking that he's doing the Dhuhr prayers or Asr or Maghrib or Isha. But then, halfway through, you realize that this man is doing nafilah. He was not doing the mandatory, not the fariḍah, the nafilah. So, would you cut your prayers or you would continue? Or if you find out after the prayers, he will turn, he will say, this was nafilah, this was not fariḍah. So do you have to repeat your prayers or not?
I don't think so.
I
think
you have to repeat. Why?
Because you are praying behind the imam.
And your prayers are not matching each other. He's doing nafilah, you are doing fariḍah.
The attention maybe is different.
No, the attention, it could be different. The attention is okay. For instance, you came to the masjid, the imam has done the maghrib, he's doing the isha. You have not done the maghrib. You can join him, pray behind him while he's doing isha, but your intention is maghrib. So the intention is okay to differ between the imam and the ma'mum. It's okay.
Even if it's like the salah is not required, I mean, salat al-dhuhr is required, for instance.
Yeah.
Nafila isn't
Nafila is mustahab.
Yeah.
Mustahab.
Right.
Yeah, it's not
But
required.
Also maybe the dhuhr didn't start because he's doing the nafil. No, or the nafil is
No,
before.
suppose the dhuhr, the adhan is done.
Okay.
What did you say?
Yes, it's okay.
He says it's okay.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, they say there were 4 people praying, not jama'ah, praying, standing next to each other. So one of them spoke in the prayers. So the one standing next to him, he said, why do you speak? You ruined your prayers. The third one said to him, you also ruined your prayers. The fourth one said, Alhamdulillah, I didn't speak. So Dr. Ali says, I don't. Yeah. The answer is no. You don't repeat. Because we have a maxim, قاعدة, general ruling. It says the prayers are only repeated because of 5 flaws. These things, if they are broken, then you must repeat your prayers. What are they? Number 1, tahara, purity. Tahara. Meaning what? Meaning if you did your prayers and then you remembered after the prayers that you didn't even did wudu. And you are certain. Sometimes you have doubt. But no, you definitely know that you used, let's say, the bathroom and right away from the bathroom to the prayers. So this is, you have to repeat it. Because this is 1. Tahara means you have to have wudu. Okay? Second, what is the second thing? The qibla. Qibla. Or let's say direction in English, because direction. Direction to a direction to Qibla. Okay? Let's say you came, I've seen this happening in many places. People come and they think that the Qibla is this way, let's say, but it's exactly the opposite. So when they find out after the prayers, they must repeat that. And we studied this, if you remember, in the fiqh class. Okay? Sometimes you don't know. You go to a place, no compass, no sun, no. Here, take one direction. Some say pray in 4 directions. Some say no, not 4. You can't, waste your time doing. Just assume that it's this direction and do it in that direction. But if you find out that the Qibla is this way, then you have to repeat it. So this is the direction. What is the third you think?
Here.
You don't repeat the prayers.
Whatever, if you mistake in the prayer.
Niyyah is in your heart. Niyyah is in your heart, Dr. Umid. Niyyah, you don't have to say it. As long as...
What I meant is you make a niyyah for asr, but you forgot to do your Dhuhr prayer. You have to go back and repeat it.
You mean you are doing the second prayers without doing the first one? Yes. Yeah, this one you have. And this is what I'm going to say. Number 3 is what?
Is the mistakes in the...
I remember a different one.
No, you can do that.
No, when you say mistake
Hajj Nadim.
in the Fatiha.
You can offset that with the 2 rak'ah sahu that you do. You can offset that. You don't have to repeat the whole prayers
What about
in the recitation. The third one is what? What do you think it is?
You mentioned one time the Zakta, like laughter.
No. The third one is the time. Time. If someone prays before Dhuhr, before the Adhan, let's say Adhan today was 12:35, he did it at 12. Then the time has not arrived. Okay? Number 4 is ruku'. Ruku'. And number 5 is what? What is after ruku'? Sujood. If the ruku' and the sujood, you did not do them. Okay? You went from qiyam right away to sujood. You did not do ruku' or sujood. These 5 things, where do we take this? From the hadith. This hadith, we consider it a general ruling. Why it's general? It's not specific. This is not, because you can apply this to many cases, hundreds of cases. And we mentioned 2 of them. One of them is that the imam is doing the nafilah. You prayed behind him. Is your prayers correct? Yes. Why? Because it's not mentioned here. See? This one says only these 5 cases. Or the second one, you came, you did your prayers before the time. Before the time arrives. Then you must repeat, because time is one of these 5. Okay? This is an example. So it applies to these 5 invalidations, they call them. 5 things that invalidate the prayers if they are not done correctly. They invalidate the prayers. Now, if you remember, the first year we started the seminary, we studied usul, ilm al-usul. And we studied some of the principles in ilm al-usul. Usuli principles. This is fiqhi principles. This is fiqhi maxims. But we have something called jurisprudential. Let me remove this so I make it easier for us. We have, this is jurisprudential maxims, al-qawa'id al-fiqhiyya. We have al-qawa'id al-usuliyya. which is the same. Jurisprudential, but what? Not maxims, principles. قواعد الأصولية. This is الفقهية. What is the common thing between them? And what are the differences? What are the points of convergence and what are the points of divergence between these two? The main point of convergence and similarity between these two, قواعد الفقهية and أصولية, and this is very important, my friends, is that both are used in the process of derivation. Both are used in the process of derivation. The derivation of the law. Both are used. You need both. You need قواعد الفقهية and قواعد الأصولية. In order for you to issue a fatwa, to produce a law, to derive a law, you need both. You need this one and you need that one. Can one of you who has a sharp memory, very sharp memory, remind me of one of these that we studied last year and the year before last year? قواعد أصولية. We studied علم الأصول and we studied many principles in علم الأصول, general principles, that we use them in what? In the process of derivation. And if you remember, we were downstairs, I would say that these are tools. Some of these tools, the mechanic use them every day with every repair that he has. These are general tools. These are general tools, are used in every process. So, can you give me an example of one of them? Exactly. أحسنت. حجية خبر الثقة, which is the credibility, the trustworthiness, reliability of the narration of a trustworthy person, even if he's one. Even if he's one, Islam tells us that you must treat him as someone who's trustworthy, and therefore you have to accept what he tells. Don't doubt about it. Even though he could be a subject to what?
Error.
To error, to memory loss. He's not infallible. Sometimes he forgets, but we have to treat him as being correct. حجية خبر الثقة. حجية خبر الثقة. Okay, so this is one of them. So what is the difference between these two, my friends? Tell me. I just said it. What is the main points of convergence? Meaning, what is the similarity, commonality between قواعد الفقهية and قواعد الأصولية? Both of them are used. This is the similarity. You need this one and you need that one.
Those are tools.
What are the points, what are the differences between them? What are the differences? What is the difference between this and this? Number one and number two.
Are the maxims more specific? They come from Quran or Rawaya versus
Which one is more specific?
the maxims?
You are close, but not very close.
Those are tools that we have to use to answer questions that we don't have the answers to, like from the Quran or the Rawaya. So we made those tools to.
No, you said something in the beginning. That one was the answer, not this one.
I'll take that one.
Was it something?
I think they are more specialized.
Which one?
The قواعد الفقهية.
Okay.
because it's more like formulas.
Okay? This one is formula. too.
Yeah,
But what's the difference between? This one is general and this one is general. But what is the difference between this and that? Both are general. Both are universal. But there is a difference between them. This is why we call this fiqhiyya and this usuliyya.
Is it the maxims that are around a specific subject? I mean, not a specific subject, but it's general around a subject. Let's say prayers, for example.
Exactly.
Versus principles that can be applied. Right?
The subject of this has to be the same like the subject of the derivation. Didn't I put here earlier? Didn't I put on the look at this? Didn't I put here al-qa'ida and underneath it al-mas'ala? And we said what is the difference between al-qa'ida? Qa'ida is maxim. Mas'ala is what? Something which is specific. We derive this from this, yes? We derive this one, the mas'ala, from the qa'ida, from the general law. This is general law. This is specific. You derive the specific from the general. Are you with me? The subject of them have to be the same. Like the example I gave about the prayers. You use that maxim about the prayers, the 5 things that invalidates the prayers, only for the prayers. You don't use it for fasting. You don't use it for hajj. You don't use it for zakat. You don't use it for marriage. You don't use it for transaction, financial transaction. It's limited to what? To that subject. So the subject is the same. There is a general rule for a specific subject. Yes, you may derive many different issues, masail. But all these masail, they fall in one category, the same category, not different categories. So the subject is the same. This is one difference. We are speaking about differences. Differences between this and that. Number one difference is what? The maxims have same subject. The subject is the same. Subject of what is the same? Tell me. You have to teach me now.
Ruling? Ruling or the law?
Category, you said.
The category is the same. So the maxim, if the maxim addresses the prayers, the mas'ala has to be also within the prayers. It's not applied to another subject. You can't use it for another subject. The application is limited to the same subject. Although it's a general ruling, general, and some people call it universal, but in its applicability, it's limited to one subject, not several subjects. While this one, no. This one, it's a general ruling, universal one, but the subject could be different. Can you explain that to me? Can you give me an example? You just said it. You just said it and I put it on the board here.
Trustworthiness or
The reliability of khabar al-thiq, someone who's trustworthy, we accept what he says. Where can you use it? In one area? Millions of areas. In every field you can use it. Why? Because you look at the hadith. The hadith speaks about hajj, about zakat, about marriage, about riba, about prayers, about God, about millions of things. But you are using that principle, this principle of the reliability of the speaker, the transmitter, you can use it in all these subjects. So the subject is not the same. The subject could be different. The principle is one, but the applications are many, in many areas, encompasses all areas. This is why they call it universal. It's like a master key. In some hotels, you know, those who room service, not the room service, the housekeeping, they give them master key. This master key, they can use it for the entire floor. They can open any room with it. It's a master key. This is a master principle. قواعد الأصولية are master principles. You can use them in every field and in every subject. And the example of that is what Dr. Ali mentioned, that خبر الثقة. While this one, قواعد الفقهية, it is used only in the same area. You can't use it somewhere else. Okay?
So
It is a general ruling. It is a general ruling, but a general ruling that is used to achieve a particular mas'ala.
but would we say that the principles or the qawa'id usuliyya are also derived from the principles?
قواعد
I mean,
say that again.
that the principle and the qawa'id al-fiqhiyya are derived from the qawa'id al-usuliyya.
No, not necessarily. There is difference between them.
No, they are derived, meaning they.
There is a
But-
linkage,
Yeah.
definitely. You cannot separate them. You cannot separate fiqh from usul. They intermingle. They are intertwined. And sometimes there is a delicate difference between them. A delicate difference between them because they are intertwined. But if you look closely, there is a difference. You can see the difference between قواعد الأصولية and قواعد الفقهية. Usuliyya are more general. We studied this the first year. We said علم الأصول is the foundation for fiqh, encompasses the fiqh. Usul is the tools. Fiqh are the ayat and riwayat. But don't you need a tool to unfold them? These tools are علم الأصول. The Quran and the Hadith are fiqh. But you need something to discover them, to derive them. That something are called tools. And these tools are studied in ilm al-usul. These tools. You need to use these tools. Otherwise you can't derive the law if you don't have these tools with you. At the time of the Prophet and the Imams, they didn't need ilm al-usul. Why? Can you tell me why? He was there. He will give you the answer. You go to him, Yabna Rasulullah, I forgot to do this. Yabna Rasulullah, I did my wudu, okay? And then I don't know whether I broke it or not. And then I prayed. Should I repeat the prayers? He says, no. As long as you were certain you did the wudu, and then you suspect that you broke it, then don't consider the suspicion. Leave it. Continue with your certainty that you did the wudu. So the Imam will explain to him, there is no need for you to sit and go through this process. The answer is made ready by the Imam, by the Prophet. Now at the time where there is no more Prophet, no more Imam, you don't have access, direct access to him, then you have to create a process to derive the law yourself, to depend on yourself to derive the law. You can't call the Imam, hey Imam, you know I'm confused and you can't do that. This is why there is a need. Having said that, the Imams are the ones who put forth the principles for ilm al-usul. We did not bring it from our pockets. We did not invent that. The Imams, they prepared the Ummah, the scholars, for their departure because one day they have no access to the Imam. So they taught them the ijtihad, the process of ijtihad. If we are no longer there, you don't have direct access to me, to ask me, then go through this process. So it's not something that we invented, no. The principles of ijtihad, derivation, was introduced by the Imams. And they trained their students to practice this even during their time. Even during their time, practice this. When you come to a deadlock where you have no answer and no access to me, then use your ijtihad. Ijtihad, which is a principled ijtihad, not arbitrary. Because ijtihad, it means invention. Whatever I like or dislike. No, not whatever I like. It has to be principled, based on certain accepted and endorsed principles. So this is the difference between them. The main difference is that al-qa'ida al-fiqhiyya, a general law, you derive a specific or a particular law from it, but within the same category and the same subject, not different subject. Qa'ida al-usuliyya, it's a universal principle. You derive from it a law. You also use it in the derivation, in the process of ijtihad. You also use this one, not just that one. But you can use that law in many areas, various areas and different areas.
Wouldn't you say that to come up with the maxims,
Mhm.
you have to use the principles? Or they are too, that's what I mean.
No.
Is it to come up with those maxims, did
Definitely you need to use this. You know why? Because the maxim that we mentioned, لا تعاد الصلاة, the prayer, it's a hadith. We have to discuss the reliability of the transmitters, the rawiyah, okay? In order for us to say, yes, we accept this or to reject. Where do we examine the reliability? In what area? Ilm al-usul. So definitely you need ilm al-usul. Definitely this depends on this one. قواعد الفقهية, they depend on قواعد الأصولية. In building this qaida, you need to use these principles. Definitely. This is why I say they are intermingled. And this one also needs that one, because this is not in abstract. Okay? You have the tools, but you don't have the subject to work. It's like a surgeon. Okay? He has the tools. The room is filled with tools, but there is no body to work on it. He works on what? On himself? On the wall? He needs a body. So the body is the fiqh. The tools are the usul. You need both. For both of them to function, they need each other. It's exactly like the husband and the wife, my friends. Dr. Ali needs to pay attention to this.
No, I had a question. I'm not, I had,
You missed this point.
yeah.
Fiqh and usul like a husband and wife, habibi. Yeah.
Which one is the?
Usul is the wife, definitely. Yeah.
Here's where you get credit for that.
Yeah, Dr. Ali, you had a question. Go ahead.
No, so basically we give the example for the maxim to be that prayer is not repeated unless of 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
So what's an example of mas'ala from it? Like, what would be a mas'ala?
I gave
The
you.
5 of them?
You need 5?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay. The first one, what did we say? Purity. So if you pray and then you realize that you did not have wudu,
Right.
definitely you need to
do the wudu.
do wudu and repeat the prayers.
So that's mas'ala? That's a mas'ala?
This is mas'ala,
That's
of
a
course, yeah, mas'ala.
So each one of these is a mas'ala?
Exactly. Each one is a particular case.
Okay.
The second one, the qibla. We said if you pray this direction and you find out the qibla, then you must repeat. Yes, here we can't say. However, 40, some fuqaha, they say 45 degrees, and some, say the Sistani, he says 90 degrees are forgiven. 90 is this.
Right.
Okay? So if the qibla was here and you prayed this way, it's okay. This is 90, yes, my friends?
Yeah.
Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah. Some say no, 45. This is. But some they say no, 90 is okay. But if it is 180 degrees, definitely you have to repeat. And then we said the time. You did the morning prayers. Let's say you woke up at 5, you thought 5 is Fajr.
No.
One time I was in Paris and we didn't have these iPhones. So I didn't know what time, and I wanted to check out from the hotel. And I got an extension until 2 p.m. thinking that, definitely the prayers is going to be 1:30, 1:45, definitely is going to be. Then when I did the prayers 1:45 and I checked out and I left, I realized that the prayers in Paris on that date was 2:15. So I did it before the time. So I had to repeat it. Okay? And the fourth and the fifth, the ruku' and the sujood. If they are missed, then these are mas'ala.
Right, that's a mistake.
Exactly. And by the way, within this mas'ala, there are minor masail too.
Oh, okay.
They trickle down.
Okay.
Okay? Within them, if we studied fiqh. You saw the classical fiqh. Within the sujood, there are hundreds of mas'ala. Within ruku', there are hundreds. So there are other masail too. Okay, so this is, yes.
Sorry, these two would never contradict one another.
No, no, no.
They would never.
They supplement. They supplement one another, but they don't contradict one another. Okay. Now,
Can a mas'ala be a maxim or no? It's a mas'ala, it's a mas'ala.
mas'ala is an issue. It cannot be a maxim. No. A maxim where you derive issues from it. General. Mas'ala is particular.
Right.
Maxim is general.
You said you can derive from the mas'ala another mas'ala.
Yeah, yeah.
So does that make it a maxim? The one over
Uh,
the top?
I don't say, I should not say derive, but trickles down from it. Yeah, yeah, branches out from it. Not derivation, no. Branches out from one mas'ala, many other masail, many other minor particulars. Okay. Now, let's say the other thing. Yeah. Can we give another example between these two? Another two, we bring two examples. Another example of the qawa'id al-fiqhiyya. The very typical one that is used, once you say qawa'id al-fiqhiyya, the first one pops out. Of course, there are hundreds, by the way. Hundreds. See this book? This book, it has hundreds of qawa'id. Hundreds of these maxims are mentioned here in this book. And still this is not all of them. The author says, I just put the most important ones, not all, the most important. So there are hundreds, by the way, hundreds of maxims, huh? Not one or two or 20 or 10 or 20, hundreds. What is, probably you went through this during your last 2 years. A very popular maxim. Very popular. We used it many, many times.
Related to which subject?
Tahara, purity. Related to purity.
Oh, like halal or something like that? Or,
We gave example, going to a house, a cafe, restaurant, bathroom, airplane seat, whatever. What did we say? Exactly. كل شيء, everything is considered pure, until you know. You know what? You know how you know?
With confidence.
Exactly. With certainty. Not with hesitation or suspicion or doubt. You know حتى تعلم. علم here, علم means certainty, يعني يقين. حتى تعلم, until you know. تعلم in this context, it means until you are certain that this is najis. But if you have doubt, treat that as what? Tahir. This is another maxim. It's called what? What is it called? Do you know? Huh? قاعدة what?
tahara.
الطهارة. أحسنت. The maxim of purity. قاعدة الطهارة. This is very popular. And this is probably the most commonly one that we use it in our daily life. But also this one, what do you notice in this one? After you finish writing, look at me. What do you notice in this one? What is the difference between this one and that one? This is of course fiqhi. And حجية خبر الثقة is أصولي. What is the difference? It is used where? Do you use it in every subject or in one subject? I'm asking you. One subject. What subject you use it? Tahara, purity. Purity or impurity. You don't use it in other subjects. Okay? You use it just to know whether this is a pure or impure. But not whether this is halal or haram. No. Doesn't say anything. So, this is the difference between قاعدة الفقهية. قاعدة الفقهية applies to the same subject, not different subject. While قاعدة الأصولية, it's a general tool, universal tool that is used in every subject. And it is not limited to the same subject or the same category. It's not. It's a universal tool. This is the difference between them. Though this one also you can say it is universal. Why? Because you use it several times a day. It's a common one. But it's not like this one. It's limited to the subject of purity. Okay? Though it is very popular, common, usable, every day you use it in every aspect of your life. But it is limited to purity. Not to halal and haram. Only to either pure or impure. While this one, the second one, you use it in every subject. Okay. Validity of the narration of a reliable person. This is the, Dr. Omid, if you need the complete translation, the complete translation is حجية خبر الثقة, the validity or the credibility, either one. The validity of a narration of a reliable or trustworthy, reliable person or trustworthy person or a truthful person. ثقة. Okay? Now, let's go to the second difference, or should we stop here? It's about 43 minutes. Or we go to the second one. What do you think? We have time? Okay. Now let me ask you, what is the second? The same? The first difference? The first difference was what? Whether the subject is limited or unlimited. In the fiqhiyya is limited, in the same category. In the qa'id al-usuliyya is not limited. It's universal. What is the second difference between this and this? I'll give you a hint. In this one, let's take that example. The purity, the maxim of purity. When you know, now you heard about it. Now you heard about the maxim of the purity. And imagine you came to a place, your friend's apartment, hotel room, whatever, okay? And then you saw a towel. I use the towels in the hotels. Someone was telling me, Sayyid, how do you use the towel? I said, what's wrong? He said, because you never know who did. I said, because I never know, because of that, I use it. If I know it's najis, of course I don't use it. Because I don't know. The hadith says, حَتَّى تَعْلَمْ. Okay? So I treat that as what? As tahir. The norm in this universe is tahara, purity. The exception is impurity. Are you with me? So the norm is everything you see, you say it's tahir. Unless it is najis by itself, like the urine. You look at the urine, definitely, this is urine is najis, or the blood. But other things, which is not aynun najasa, not the exact najasa, you treat them as tahir unless. So the norm is tahir, the exception is najis. Are you with me, Haj Nadeem? Now, do you need the mujtahid to tell you this table is tahir, or you can detect this by yourself?
If you have logic, you can do it yourself.
If you have logic, ahsan. Many people, they don't have logic, alhamdulillah. They don't use it, they have it, but they don't use it. You don't have to call the mujtahid and tell him, Maulana, I'm in, let's say, Holiday Inn today in Garden Grove, and I don't know whether that table is najis or tahir. You don't have to tell him.
My son he's like 11 and he was reading the Masail Sayyid Sistani online and in English. We say he was laughing, he said, why is asking this?
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to ask the mujtahid to call him. You have the law, you apply it. You apply it yourself. So the mukallaf him, see, we are called mukallaf. We are all mukallafeen, responsible to fulfill certain duties. So in the fiqh terminology, in the sharia terminology, we are called mukallafeen. The mukallafeen is the plural, the singular is mukallaf. Mukallaf means someone who has a responsibility to fulfill something, to do something. So I don't have to go with the qaida al-fiqhiyya. I don't have to go to the faqih or the mujtahid to identify the issue. He has already given me that. I identify it myself. Whereas in this one, who does identify? You in the usuliyya or the mujtahid? Why?
I mean,
Give me an example.
For the usul,
Mhm.
they had to-
Why you cannot identify it? The mujtahid, the faqih has to identify this.
research and stuff.
To identify the particular, I mean, to apply the general to the particular. This is what I mean. Whereas in the first one, in the fiqh, you can apply it. As long as you know the general, you know it, you can apply it to the particular. You don't need to call the mujtahid. But in this one, the mujtahid, this is the job, not your job of the mukallaf. This is the job of the mujtahid to do this application. Why?
So ilm al-rijal, they need to know who's, like if you do use khabar al-thiqa,
Exactly.
they're the only ones that know.
Exactly. Exactly. Because the example we gave about khabar al-thiqa, hujjiyat khabar al-thiqa, the validity of the narration of the reliable person. Dr. Ali, look at me. Can this one, the validity of the narration of a reliable, can it be done by any lay person in the street? He can come and say, yeah, this hadith, I think this hadith is correct. No. This has to be done by whom? By an expert. By an expert who, as Dr. Amid mentioned, who studied ilm al-rijal. He knows about them, he studies them, he analyzes their life. He knows which one is da'if. I think you studied ilm al-hadith, huh?
Yeah.
You studied some. Yeah. So this is the job. The application of these principles are the job of the faqih, not the layperson. While the applications of the maxims are the job of you. He gives you the general rule, go ahead. If it applies to your case, use it. If it doesn't, you don't use it. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.